What about, so obviously we're sitting at the bar here in Nashville. How did that kind of come about from back then and now we're sitting here? What was that? Why Nashville? Kind of all those kind of questions. Why?
Yeah, that's a great question that is related to us deciding if we want to grow this, we need a little bit more money to hire people. And that's sort of the nature, I think, of what we learned. We can talk about this at length a little bit. Like with Max, myself, and Sam, like we're not really like charismatic talent that is like going to be acting in sketches and going to be. We hosted a podcast for a while, and we were like, we're not good at this. We need to hire people.
You guys got Jared Goff, your boy, on the pod.
We did early on, and that's like one of Max's friends. Like, and we had really fun guests, but I'm not a good podcast host, and I think one of the key things that we all did as a group is I say, who are the real people that draw into Friday Beers? These guys who are making funny sketches that we see on TikTok, that we see on Instagram, that are dudes. Great example is Liam Culloh, who's become a huge part of what we build. Him and Will Angus, I think especially as a tandem, are, in my mind, like funnier than like Jim Carrey was. As funny as Jim Carrey was growing up. Maybe not as funny as Jim Carrey, but I like to say that about them. I think they're incredibly talented. And Liam was just graduating UMass, and Max saw this Instagram video that he made of him as like a guy who turned 21, and they just got him like a case of beer, but he wanted like balloons and all the stuff that like a girl would get when she turned 21. And it was a really, really on the note point of like, that is the evolved version of like, I hate using the term bro humor, but it's like, that's the evolved version of like guy humor that we want to make.
Right.
It's got to be made in a way that's like in touch. And that was who we wanted to bring in. So back to your point, when we're going back to like building this company, like we need money, we need to kind of raise it to hire guys like Liam. And we also want to explore other opportunities that this brand can become. And we talked to this dude who was actually a friend of mine from New York, and a great friend of mine in general. His name is Scott Broder. He runs a hospitality company called Dreamscape Hospitality. And he's like, you guys should build a Friday Beers bar. And I was like, that's sort of an interesting idea. You asked me the question earlier, like, did you anticipate building this? I was like, no, I never thought about building a bar. But he's like, you're a brand that people have love to interact with. You should think about how you interact with them in other ways that's beyond just picking up your phone and watching media. And I was like, that's an interesting idea. And he's like, I'm going to invest in the company, and I'm also want to do a bar project with you. He had a place in Las Vegas that was like incredibly epic, but I was like, do we really fit into Las Vegas? I was like, I'm not sure. He's like, we also have this place in Nashville. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. I'd never been to Nashville. I went down, we did a trip, we saw this bar before it was this. Did you guys ever come here when it was the previous iteration?
No.
It was it was a dump. It was a total, nothing was going on. It wasn't even remotely close to what this was, but we got toured around. We saw this place. We saw some of the other places. There's a really great brewery down there. I forget what it's called.
Black Abbey? Or what is it, Yeehaw?
Yeehaw.
Yeah, Yeehaw.
That we went to. We saw these places. There's like a little bit of action here. They're actually building a Four Seasons right there, which is going to be massive and cool. And then I saw where Broadway was, and I was like, this could kind of be a cool location. And Nashville, when I toured it for the first time, I thought this is sort of like Las Vegas, but it's closer and it's like
everyone
with the
compares
same
Nashville. They call it Nash Vegas.
Yeah, and I was like, this could be a really good spot to build this thing. I knew it wasn't going to be like a nightlife hub because it's a little bit off of Broadway, but I thought this could be a great place to do what Friday Beers is about, which is hang out with your friends and watch sports. And so it took us a while to get to like what that really is. But you'll see today at the Super Bowl party, for watching football games, for watching basketball games, for watching stuff like that, it is the perfect environment. And we've decorated it and we've staffed it and we've made it feel Friday Beers and Almost Friday more than anything. That's the key. And like when they brought that idea up, I was like, this is the type of thing that Almost Friday could be when you apply it outside of the media box.
As a Nashvilleian, I kind of like, I hate Broadway just.
Yeah,
of
me
course.
too.
That vibe.
I feel the same way about it. Yeah.
And I like that it's off of the strip because this is more of like you don't have to deal with that down there, but you can also,
Fucking
like you're saying, watching sports.
Honky
Exactly.
tonk zombie land down here.